Hello guys, and today I'm gonna be showing you how to make animations. This would be a quick animation tutorial, so yeah. So first what you do is you go into your favorite browser. I choose Google, and what you do is you type in the thing scratch.mit.edu. So once you've got to there, you should see a screen like this using featured projects. After this, you should press join so that you could join. Then you could start sharing things, etc., etc. So once you press the join button, you'll see this join Scratch thing. You'll just type in a username, don't use that. Create a password, don't use that as well because no one can remember that. And then you're done. Once you do that, however, I'll show you what to do next. Once you've signed in and created an account, you should see a screen that's something like this. Mine's a little different because I've already done some stuff on this website, but anyways, once you're done with this, all you have to do is you have to press the create button, or you could go to the folder icon on the top, which is called My Stuff. If you click on here, then there should be this little menu. All you have to do is you have to click on New Project to start your own animation. These are all just random animations and stuff that I've been doing. And New Project. Most people here, they start deleting the cat. But no. Anyways, this is going to be your little play area, which is called the Scratch Editor. Be aware that this is actually for code. And that means that you could also create stuff like games, but since we're focusing on animation here, all we'll just do animations. First, let's change the title of this from Untitled to Titled. Can be anything really, but anyways, once you have this, you should have this little cat here. What I like to do is I like to hide it, and this little thing is what appears if you select a sprite. A sprite is a thing that you could control in this little play area. And then over here is the place where you get to code stuff. And then over here is the block area, where if you use this handy little menu here, you could go here, and then they have a lot of stuff you could do. Anyways, so this is a hide and show thing, which hides and shows the sprite. This is the area where you could change the background. And to get yourself familiar with these three tabs, is that first you have to press the code button, and then the next button is a costumes button, which is where you could do the animating. As you can see here, you have this ordinary cat, which is the Scratch Cat, the mascot of Scratch. And you have this cat that looks like he's running a little bit. You could use these two costumes to make really simple animations, but we aren't going to focus there. And next is the Sounds tab. In this sprite, there is this default sound here. This sound is just a sound. You can select many other sounds here, like a trumpet. Then now you can make your cat make that sound. Anyways, also if you want to, before you start animating, you could go to tutorials and you could choose anything you want. So these actually really help, like they even have an animating one. And they also have a getting started. You should click on this one and then you should just walk through it if you want to. And then let's just go back. Or you could just do most of this. This is actually really simple. It's pretty cool as well. So the thing is that code is actually really easy to understand. If you had this go to random position block, then it would go to a random position. If I keep on clicking on this block, then the cat just goes into a random position. Each block gets red every time it happens. Like a hat block is a block that starts everything. This is when start flag clicked. To make it so that the cat moves in a random position when the start flag is clicked is that when the start flag is clicked, go to a random position. That sounds a lot like a sentence, which it is. So once you click that, instead of having to click the block, then you could just click the start flag. As you could see, we have this nice little segment of code here, and we could even make this a bit more complicated by adding a wait 1 second block, and that means that it would just wait 1 second and then the next thing would happen. So let's play this a trumpet sound, and that means that go to the random position, wait 1 second, and then play this trumpet sound. That works perfectly. Now, all you have to do to make this go forever is that you have to click on this loop. A loop is something that does everything that is inside it. So this forever thing means that any blocks that are inside it goes on forever. That means that it will keep on repeating over and over again. Like that means if this is in a forever loop, then that means that it will go to random position, wait 1 second, then play a trumpet sound until done, and it will keep on doing that forever, at least until you press the stop sign, which stops it. See? It works pretty good. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on here, but anyways, this when start flag clicked is very important. And you also should make sure the save now button. Every 5 minutes, you should do a save now, so your project is saved in the cloud no matter what. If you click on this, then the project is saved. Now, we're actually going to start the animation. So, let's just choose a new sprite, and instead of choosing one, we'll press paint. Now, we have painted the sprite. We also have this little invisible sprite here now, and we could do whatever we want in this little box here. This is the paint area where you could paint stuff. You can make circles. You should pause the video and play around with this before you start, and you should be fine. Anyways, I'm gonna delete all of this, and if you press the select button, then you could just select things, and then you have to make sure that the first costume, which will always be there, will have to be nothing. This is gonna make it so that you could do interesting stuff, like just say you could have a please waiting thing so that reduces lag. There's a ton of stuff you could do. Like say in this little version of it, you could actually do it for each sprite, which means that we can make it so that Scratch Cat head is floating. Wow, that looks beautiful. And then now we could you could actually just turn it using that, and then you can just do that. Anyways, I'm just gonna hide it by using this little handy thing here. You could also rename it here. I'm just gonna name it Sideways Cat. There's Sideways Cat. And then Sprite 2, this is gonna be our animation. Alright then, so now just switch to this, and then we have to insert our basic blocks. Our basic blocks here, which I have in my backpack, I'm not going to tell you that yet, you should figure that out yourself, are these, which is very important for animating. First, you have to do the go to x0, y0. This is like the coordinate plane, as you can see here, if you select a backdrop, which you could also select backdrops this way. If you do As you can see here, there is an XY coordinate. And then you can use this for many things. Like this is x0, y0. This is a bit like a coordinate plane in math. Like these are just basic points, and you could just switch costume to costume 1. There's going to be multiple costumes. It's going to be like stop motion animation, which means that it's going to be pretty much like there would be one costume that would have like a face, and then the other costume, that face would be moved a bit sideways, and then it would look like movement if you look at the right. Sort of. And anyways, that's how you do it. And then set size to 100. If you add some code that makes it so that the size would be like 1,000 or something, you don't really want that to be in the beginning of your animation, or else everything would look really close up. And clear graphic effects. A graphic effect is something that's in the looks tab, and then if you go down here, you could just change the color effect. Now let's return back to our circle thingy. If you change the color effect by 25, which as you can see changes color, if you press the start flag, then it resets. And also it goes to 0, 0. Like if I'm just gonna make a tiny circle here, now I'm gonna select everything, and see this little cursor, you could just make it go to the middle, and now it's at 0, 0. That's also the reason why we needed that go to x0, y0, and the show button. This is important. Like, if you just pause it and just make it go hide, then that means that if you press play, then it would show back again. We don't really need this coordinate plane again anymore, so I'm just going to remove it. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to walk you through all of the buttons here. So this is the paint tool. You could paint stuff with it, which is pretty much just the equivalent in this program of a pencil. And then what you do here is this is a fill tool. You could fill stuff up. And for some reason this is not working because this is vector. And this is the font thing where you could type things. I'm gonna do the save now. You could also change the font in this little drop down menu. They have a ton of fonts here. My favorite is marker. And then over here we have the line tool where you could draw lines. This is the circle tool. If you press shift, then you can make perfect circles. If you press the square button, then you can make perfect squares. You can also make rectangles if you want, if you don't use anything on your keyboard. And this is the selecting tool. This can help you select stuff. Like, it would make you select this line here. If you press the backspace button, you could delete it. You could select multiple things by making the big box cover everything. For this circle here, you could also change the color by changing the fill. You could even make it look like this, like this. It's pretty cool of what you could do in this editor. Like, you could make it look like a really weird shadow, but that doesn't really matter. We'll just focus on this. Let's make this big black circle, and if you use the reshape tool, then you could change it. You could use these little things to change the way that it looks. You could even make this weird shape thing. You could do this, you could do this. The possibilities are limitless. Anyways, if you use the select button, then you use this. Then you could flip things horizontal, vertical, and you could use this forward and backward thing, which if you say have this little text thing here, then this would Wait, so once you change this color here, then you could see that this is in the front, this text thing, and this is in the back. So what you could do is you could put this front button, and then it would be in front of the text. Well then, once you're done with that, then that means that I just cleared up everything. So now I'm going to press this. Now I'm going to right click, and then it says duplicate or export. I want to click duplicate, and it duplicates it, and it does the exact same thing. Now I'm going to go into my backpack, and I have a ton of stuff here, and now I'm going to find my OC. I might be posting an OC tutorial soon. And anyways, this is my OC negative. You've probably seen him around the channel a lot. And now I'm going to use this select tool. And once I do this, I'm gonna press the copy button here. And then I'm going to press the paste button here. Now I'm going to just delete this sprite. And now we have negative. Now I'm going to move him over here a little. And just to remind you, this is a lot like stop motion animation. So I'm going to put him here, and now we're going to duplicate him. And now, because of this new update, you could just minimize it. Now you could see behind the stage, which is the backdrop, and you have to just move him a little bit more. Then duplicate, then move him a little more, then duplicate, then move him a little more. And remember to select everything. My thing has a lot of stuff, as you can see if you look here. That's pretty much filled with dots. So that's why I just select everything using the mouse. And then all you have to do is you have to just keep duplicating this. And then you could just move it over here. As you can see here, now you have this. And let's go into our code. Wait, it's just loading. And then once it loads, I have the script in my backpack as well. Like, your backpack is a place where you can store stuff, and you could only access it if you have an account. So that's why I also told you to create an account. Press a saving project. And then this is a complicated script. It's pretty easy to actually do. So it's repeat until the costume number equals whatever. So what that means is that if you look in the costumes, there is a lot of costumes, which is pretty much obvious. But this is going to repeat until the costume number equals the number of the costume. It's pretty much just a little algebra. So that means that if I say repeat until the costume number is 6, then it repeats the code that's inside the loop until the costume number is 6. This is really helpful, and that means that we could just do this. And then, to make it so that it looks like stop motion animation, then you just press next costume, and then you add a wait 1 second block, but that would be really slow, so we're going to do a fraction of a second. So then you press the save now button again, and then you press play. As you can see, it looks like he's going really fast. I'm just going to make this a bit slower. That's really slow. And you could just play around with this until you get the right amount of a fraction of a second. That seems fine with me. And you have to keep on continuing this until you have an animation. Wait 1 second and then you just have to duplicate all of this script. And then once you have that, you could just modify the code and do it all again. So what we're going to do here now is that we'll just duplicate this. Most pro scratchers here, they say that you have to start each scene off with the frame before, which means that if this is like one part in the loop, which we just created, which we'll call this the loop, then that means that we have to start the next loop, which is this. I'm going to just place this with a question mark again. That means that we have to start this loop with this with the exact same frame, which is pretty much a costume, to make it look good. And then once you do that, we're going to start using the basics of moving things in the Scratch editor. So I'm going to duplicate this sprite, and now all we have to do here is we could just move this a little bit, and that's my arm, like my OC arm, and that makes it move. But that would look a little weird. So I'm gonna, because I've added a bit of filters here, it looks a little teeny tiny bit curved. And then we'll just make it do this, and we're gonna make it look like my OC, whose name is Negative, say hi. And then we're gonna add a little teeny tiny box here, so that acts like a filler. And let's make the outline go to 0. And if we do this, then see, that looks like he's happy. You don't have to add a mouth, but I just like it without a mouth because then I'd have to do less animating. And now I'm just gonna keep on doing this. Just you like the tool. This tool is your best friend now. I'll just pause this video. Just pause the video here and do a little bit of animating. Well, at least try to, and you should get the results as me. And now I'm done with my little animation here. If you look to the right here, you'll see my original animation, but if you do this, then it just does that. Like this little quack thing. I'm gonna call it a quack thing. And once you do that, as you can see, it flashes a little bit. And I don't want that because I want to show you actually what's happening. So if you look here, then it won't. And you could click through your animations by just clicking here, then moving your mouse. And then if you look at the right side, then there won't be any of that flashing. And then you'll just see your animation in just a really slow format. And then once you've done with that, then go to code, and then the costume number. Let's look at the costume number again because I haven't looked at that. Costume number 14. Then change the costume number to 14. As you can see, now he's waving. And that's pretty much actually the basics of animation. You could actually do a whole lot of stuff here and just keep on duplicating here and there. And now let's save this. And that's it. So thank you guys for watching, and if you want to, you could actually add more to your animation. It doesn't have to be this long. And you could also check stuff out at the Explore. As you can see here, now I'm at the Explore page. The Explore page is a place where you could pretty much explore stuff. And if you go here and you go to animations, there's actually a ton of animations here which you could check out, and if you go inside the project, which I'll show you how, then you could wait for it to load. And anyways, like once you're here, if you go to here, then all you have to do is you have to press C inside. This is how your project will look. And then once you go in here, you could see how these people animate. Like if you go here, go to costumes, just wait, it's loading. Yeah, actually let's not. And you could actually learn how people animate. There's a lot of ways you could animate actually. So also if you go to my stuff, let's just load the project. All you have to do is you have to go to see project page, and then you could share to the whole world. You could just tell people how to use your project, like click the start flag. This was, and just Grammarly. This was for a YouTube tutorial. And then you could type anything here, and then I'll just love it and like it. And now let's share it. And now people can comment, add it to the studio, end it into their website, and do a ton of cool stuff. And once you click the start flag, it's gonna do your awesome animation. And that's pretty much how you animate. And you're not done yet. After this, if you're new, you should set your profile by just doing this stuff. And once you're done with that, you could do more stuff. And they have an awesome community here. You've got Allied, Undertale stuff, and pretty much everything. What you want people to do is follow you. Like, say for example, if I go to following this person, then you could press the follow button. I could unfollow, but I don't really want to. So, anyways, and you want people to follow you because it's sort of like the version of YouTube subscribing, and you can make YouTube videos about it. And you could just do a ton of stuff here. You could also make games, but I'm not really an expert on that. So, anyways, bye. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you like it. Like and subscribe. A ton of other random stuff, and bye.